Hi, I'm J. Philip Burns. I'm going to share with you my hybrid French polishing method for guitar. Let's take a look at the instrument. It was just refinished with that method. And there's a free guard dog for our whole process here. Okay. The hybrid feature of the process is to spray the base coats with a spray can and handle, anti-fatigue handle. And then the second half of the hybrid process is polishing with a polishing cloth. Okay, so if we want to precede that whole operation by removing the old finish, and that can be done with a scrubbing pad and denatured alcohol, together with lots of paper towel to wipe up the residue. Then we have a big job ahead of us, and that is dry sanding the guitar to get rid of all the old stains and get clean wood surface. And that's going to be done with something like 240 at 320 paper, typically with a flexible sanding block behind it. And then after the dry sanding is done, we're ready to spray the base coats, and that's going to be around 10 coats, and you want to let that cure for several days because the shellac will shrink. Over here is a jar, is my shellac jar, basic original jar, and it is not critical at this point, but critical measurements will come later herein. Roughly a 50-50 mix of shellac flakes in the bottom here, and with denatured alcohol added to that 50-50 mix. Let that sit for several hours or overnight, and then you will end up with a saturated shellac sitting on top of flakes that did not dissolve. The liquid, portion of the liquid, is then poured off through a filter and funnel into a dedicated shellac bottle. And when we get ready to do our polishing, we're going to use a 3-to-1 ratio of 3 parts denatured alcohol to 1 part saturated shellac liquid. By the way, some other stuff here that went in before the process was started this is a jig that plugs into the base of the guitar, allowing the guitar to be rotated about its main axis while we work on the different surfaces. Okay, so the polishing, excuse me, after we do the spraying with the 10 coats, we'll end up with a tremendous amount of orange peel all over the surface. The orange peel has to be removed, and that's done with the 240. That's done, excuse me, with 320 to 400 paper, oil, and that's oil sanded. And then to finish up, we're doing oil sand the whole guitar with 600. That oil sanding with 600 is very important because we are not going to add oil to the polishing process. We're just going to depend on the residual oil of the 600 sanding process after wiping that surface with paper towel. That residual oil will be all we need to work together with the shellac to give us a final shine. By the way, take a look at the notes along with the YouTube video, because I'm sure I'm forgetting something here in the actual video. Okay, polishing. We have a optical cleaning cloth with approximately a square foot of cheesecloth, which is folded up, and a part of a credit card to provide a stiffening. And so the assembly, the polishing assembly, will look something like this, secured to the rubber band. You'll want to get that flat surface as perfect as you can, and the cloth is opened up to charge it with our 3-to-1 mix. Is opened up, we pour it all over, and then we close it up and secure it with a rubber band. The polishing process, of course, goes around and around and around, approximately 10 to 15 seconds per pass, to allow the shellac to achieve a minimal amount of hardness before the next pass over it. I forgot to mention that the head, to keep the paint or the spray out of the tuning holes, this dowels are used, wrapped with whatever amount of tape necessary to get a nice press fit in each hole. Also forgot to mention some sort of a method of ensuring that we get the 3:1 ratio of alcohol to shellac. Okay, now as you're doing the polishing, and it'll take about 20 minutes or so for just to do the top, as we go around and around and get these swirls, there will be swirls in the wake of the polishing, and that will be rather disturbing to you, but do not let that bother you, because after about 20 minutes or so, the polishing cloth will become almost evaporate and become almost dry, and that is when the beautiful French polish finish starts to appear. And you're going to need to keep polishing away to make sure that when you look at the guitar obliquely, make sure that all the swirls have been removed to the extent possible. Okay, and for those of you who are interested, this is a Martin guitar, and I added a cutaway to it, and that required a complete replacement of the edge binding, which happens to be laminated maple. So hopefully this will work out for you. Enjoy your refinishing project on your own guitar, and if you like, check out my guitar arrangements, J. Philip Barnes, on YouTube. Good luck.